to corals that are more abundant in deeper water. So together here, this is one of those places where there's a huge diversity of shapes, sizes, corals, and coral species that occur in a wide range of habitats. So while diving, it's best practice to go to the deepest part of your dive plan and then come up more shallow. So here I am, partially even on the reef wall, probably around 50 to 60 feet, and you can see the slope gets a little bit steeper. At around 65 feet, I encountered this kind of loose grouping of large parlor sarcophyte and toadstool leather coral. So I hope that this can actually serve as a little bit of inspiration for aquascaping reef tanks using this type of coral. Right where most reef slopes bottom out, you usually hit a sandy zone, and this is where you'll find some of the deep water bommies. On these deep water bommies, you have a diversity of corals, including chalices, more leather corals, sinarinas, blastomusas, and this is definitely where things start to get really interesting. One thing I want the reef aquarium folks to notice is that there is a wide diversity of corals on this bombing, but they have a lot of room in between them. So there's a lot less chance for these corals stinging each other, and each one can kind of find the nook and cranny where it grows and survives the best. It's not every time, but on a regular basis, I will actually see torch corals growing right at the sand zone next to a bombing. It's a lot more rare to encounter a nice cloud of these anemone shrimp or coral shrimp. And simply sticking my hand out, invited one of them to come and give me a little grooming, see if I could find a little tasty treat. Blastomusa is legitimately a rare coral in the wild. I'm lucky to see one or two colonies on a dive like this where it's deep, but I think this is the first time I've ever seen a really nice, beautiful orange specimen of Blastomusa. This thing has so much rainbow potential with a purple mouth. This is just an amazing specimen.
Same-day delivery and text a personal shopper for last-minute additions. Just have time.
We're in the perfect place to encounter a coral that the Solomon Islands is well known for, is the translucent Sinarina lacrimalis. Here's a solitary example of the torch coral, Euphyllia glabrescens. Right now you can see that it's not really experiencing that much flow. Just a few feet away, we see a couple coralites of another species that really enjoys this calm environment, Stralamusa. One thing that I'm starting to notice about the common bubble coral, Pleurogyra sinuosa, is that even if you see it in a wide range of environments, it almost always is attached horizontally to the substrate. This makes it really common in shipwrecks and reef walls, but even on a typical reef like this, it is growing at a 90-degree angle. Here you can see the typical placement for a pair of Sinorina coralites. And like the bubble coral, they're rarely pointed upwards facing the surface and more likely to be encountered at the bottom of the bommy and also growing semi-horizontally or at least an angle. One thing that you see on the reef that you won't see really in the aquarium hobby is overgrown specimens of Fungia disc coral. This guy right here was probably about 12 inches or 37 inches across. Another flat growing coral is this oxypora. Not as colorful as the chalice corals we're used to, but still pretty striking when you're diving. And here's an encrusting disc coral. This is known as Cantharellus. And I think this is kind of the missing link between the encrusting lithophyllons that we have in the aquarium hobby. And this red mouth mycelium is actually a really common strain of Mycelium robocacci. And in white light, it's kind of neat, you know, but under blue light, this thing will grab your attention from across the room or across the reef. This lithophilia looks pretty basic under white light, but we know what it can do in blue light. And here you can see just how huge the true elephant ear mushroom anemones can get. Here I come across a nice neighborhood of Euphyllia corals, including a sizable colony of white-tipped torch coral. And right next to that was a octopus or frog spawn coral. Not too much color, but a very nice large colony. As I start to come up a little bit more shallower, I come across a really nice colony of a brownish gray, thin branching Hydnophora or horn coral. I haven't seen too many horn corals in the hobby lately, but I'm definitely on the lookout for some more, especially after seeing how beautiful a silvery gray specimen can be. A large colony of Diploastria awaits us as we begin to arrive into the middle depth. And here's another coral you won't see. See in the aquarium hobby too much. It's a branching Echinophora. And some beautiful damselfish hanging out in a Pavono colony right behind it. Believe it or not, this is also a branching species. This is Echinophora mammiformis. It can be kind of purplish or kind of greenish, and you can see it's starting to develop a little bit of stump as far as a future branch. Here at about 30 feet, where the light is a little bit more intense, we can finally come across some nice acropora colonies. This is a really healthy stand of a bottle brush acropora species right next to a thick staghorn acropora. And this is a perfect habitat to encounter a bunch of small gammon gobies and smart blue damselfish. was able to rediscover the really awesome colony of blue branching anacropora. What you're looking at is definitely a jumble of branches because this reef was actually hit by a cyclone maybe 4 or 5 months before this video was taken. So the branches are going in every direction. But this is actually part of the way that species like this, the thin